This was an interesting project. I began building it without really knowing what I was going to do on the top. And a friend of mine mentioned that he knew where this stained glass dome was residing in Oregon, and this guy had it in his garage down in Grants Pass. And it was flat, but it was obvious that it was a stained glass dome. And I found that it was a dome from a church in Pasadena that had been torn down in the 70s. And this man had stored it for 30 years, apparently. So I made contact with him, and it turned out to be perfect for this project, but we had to redo all the glass. And as far as I know, this is the largest stained glass dome in Oregon, maybe even the Northwest. But this is like a summer's project here. I'm not punching the clock, but this, with helpers and so on, it takes a while. That's from Wausau, Wisconsin, an Episcopal church that was built in the early 1900s, and then I believe it was either remodeled or torn down completely in the 70s. But I had it shipped out. I found it on eBay, and the people who had it, they had it in their backyard, and they were willing to sell it, and we had it brought out on a lowboy. It's all metal, has a wooden structure inside. But that's an example of real craftsmanship that's almost lost. Those guys knew what they were doing. This came about at first as I was going to make a rickshaw. But once it started, it just kept growing. I had no idea that it was going to become this, honestly. There were portions of it I didn't like, and I didn't like the proportions or whatever, and I would reduce it and cut it and enlarge it. And some people would say that my approach is violent, but metal is violent. I mean, you've got to persuade it. So this kept going until it became the carriage that you see. It has been in the Eugene Celebration a couple of times, actually. Last year, this last Eugene Celebration, we pulled the current Slug Queen through it. You might have noticed that. This is a snow shovel. These are spring tooth from a harrow. This spring mechanism here is part of a buckboard. This is all part of a mower that a gear housing. There's farm wheels that I had vulcanized, put the rubber on. It goes on and on. It took months, but it's like you work on it a while and it sits there and it percolates, and you work on something else and you let that percolate a little bit, and it begins to take on its own sense of entity, and that's the way I like to work. Just let it keep going, and eventually it's never done, but I am.